Cumberland Island is the largest barrier island in the state of Georgia. A barrier island is necessary in order to protect shorelines from harsh storms so that delicate wetland ecosystems, such as those along the coast of Georgia, can thrive. On the island of Cumberland alone, there are 3 distinct ecosystems coexisting on the 36,000 acres. The beach is the most famous, stretching over 17 miles along the Atlantic Ocean. The opposite side of the island, the western edge, is made up of salt marshes. This side of the island hosts a unique as well as delicate balance of flora and fauna that require continual coastal flooding of salty water. The third ecosystem is oak savanna, a grassland mostly inhabited by savanna oak trees. The island is not currently inhabited by anyone, yet it boasts a population of 150 to 200 wild horses. Horses are believed to have first been introduced to Cumberland in the 16th century when Spanish settlers came in search of new land for trade routes. At this point, a few hundred natives were already living on the island, but an infectious disease transferred from settlers devastated their population. Because of constant pirate attacks on the coast, the Spanish eventually fled, leaving behind a small herd of horses that eventually died off. The horse was then reintroduced to the island when English colonists arrived in 1733. They allowed their domestic horses to roam and feed freely on the grassy island. Over time, however, the horses reverted to their wild state, making them useless to the inhabitants. People began to leave the island while horse populations swelled, causing an imbalance in the ecosystem. With so many horses on such a small island, the grasses have been overgrazed. With a lack of food, many of the horses suffer from malnourishment. In addition to the dwindling feed, most of the grass is covered in sand, making it harder for the horse to digest. Even with constant eating, many of the horses are almost skeletal. They have a crippled stance, their legs seeming to buckle beneath them with a lack of strength. The horse in Cumberland is much smaller than the average horse, and because of inbreeding, they are more susceptible to disorders. Some horses face a near death because of disease and starvation. This foal is among the lucky ones. He was born before the summer season, a season that is particularly brutal for young horses with the intense heat and increased insect activity. The survival rate for this young horse is 30% lower than usual for a wild horse because of the environmental struggles he will have to face being limited to the island. A wild grass in this area would normally grow 1 to 2 feet tall. But with the horse population constantly feeding, the grass grows no higher than a few inches. As the horses tug at the roots, they loosen up the sand and soil, causing the ground to begin to erode away. This erosion eventually leads to the shrinking of the island as it becomes swallowed by the ocean. The disappearing island threatens the lives of the horses as well as other animal and plant life in this rich ecosystem.